Ever been drowning in chaos and someone hits you with, just be grateful? Cool. Tell that to my nervous system. Toxic positivity isn't deep, it's dismissive. Real growth doesn't mean slapping an inspirational quote on your pain and calling it healed.
In this episode, we're breaking down what positive psychology was meant to be and how it got twisted into emotional gaslighting. Because just think positive is often code for your feelings make me uncomfortable. And frankly, we're not here for that. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Lisa, and we're wildly unbothered.
So, toxic positivity, we have slowly started to hear that more and more as we're getting into the buzz psychology and where it's kind of being overused. But what does it look like? You know, we have the good vibes only, or think happy thoughts, or in some of the more shaming examples, you have so much to be grateful for. So the dismissing of feelings or invalidating people's emotions. So there's a lot of different ways it gets pulled up, but how have you experienced the toxic side of positivity?
It's this well-meaning, most of the time, kind of comments people will make just to fill the space.
Wow.
And it makes them feel better because they've said something nice, but it is harmful. It's like taking toxic poison and shoving it in somebody else's mouth. It's like, here, have that toxic candy. And it's not helpful.
Right. It quiets things down for a second, but it isn't helpful. And I think I was even guilty of it growing up. At one point, I'd see good vibes only, and I was like, oh, hell yeah, that's what I want in my life. So we want to enjoy the things that are good, but it's important to have truth and reality to your days and your lives. And I was just telling you, and I was telling a couple clients this week, we need all of our emotions. So the expectation for yourself or for others to sit in a space of neutral or happy or positive or excited is not only unhealthy, it's not real. So painting the neutrality on emotions and embracing them and seeing what that looks like. But like we've touched on, words matter. So being intentional about what you're saying to other people or what your expectation around positivity and psychology might be in general.
It's ignorance is bliss feeling in my mind. It's of, you're not supposed to have any other thoughts. You're supposed to just stay light. And I don't know how to be like that. I'd have to have a little lobotomy in order to get to that point. So once you have feelings, is to be able to feel them across the entire range, which is part of self-awareness. And it's necessary. And there's movies made about all the emotions being valid and needed. So it's not about just getting rid of the ones that don't feel good, or when they come up to feel bad because you actually have the not sunshiny feelings. And when you are allowed to feel all of them, that is your full depth and breadth of self.
Mm-hmm. And it's less scary when you allow yourself to feel them. So you're not surprised when things come up, or you're not, oh my gosh, my world is ending because I feel distraught or have these less than ideal emotions going on. It's more of oh, this is how I feel. Oh, maybe I need something. And you learn to speak your body's language by paying attention and embracing them. So pulling from the toxic side and patterns, unfortunately, that we've all fallen guilty of at some point, how can we switch it back to the true definition of positive psychology? What does it mean and what does it look like?
Well, I can just tell you that when we're moving from one to the other, it's moving from the expectation that you're going to be the Stepford wife and just kind of like in a lobotomized way, kind of functioning through whatever with some kind of grin on your face, to science. Science.
We love it.
Positive psychology. The scientific study of what makes life worthwhile.
Yeah, that's literally what it is.
Science.
Yes. So with a lot of mental health, there's the very obvious what isn't going right, what needs to be fixed, what things need to be processed. How does this highlight more of a solutions focused or strengths based approach?
So rather than pathologizing everything and making it a dysfunction and a disorder, it's looking at things from a different like point of view. It's turning it around. And I think that we've seen the graphics, the memes, that if you're sitting in a bus and on one side, like the person is staring out the window and it's like straight up into like the sheer rock face, they see nothing and it's gray. But the other side, just because they did was turn their head, that they were seeing this glorious landscape that's beautiful.
Right.
So it's perspective. It's choosing what our perspective is. And we get to choose that.
Mm-hmm. And the perspective isn't just rainbows and unicorns, but
Mhm.
we lean into and highlight the things that are going to help us grow, feel good, find that happiness, hit our goals, everything that kind of connects with our emotions, and leaning into the days that you're excited to live. So, not expecting perfection with this direction, but it's becoming the creator of your life, feeling empowered and learning from your emotions and finding the mindsets that feel great and supportive, or just approaches of, let me check in with my strengths and see how that can help me or make me feel good or more motivated with my day to day or X, Y, and
Mhm.
Z.
That which we focus on does get bigger,
Yes.
not in a strange woo sort of way, but
Mhm.
just because you pay attention to it.
Mhm.
So my examples would be kind of on a lesser note. If you're in the midst of rainy season and it's always gray skies, if every single day repeatedly you keep saying, it's so gray, it's so gray, it's so gray, it's still gray, it's going to feel like it's even worse
Mhm.
versus you looking around and going, oh my goodness, this is the nutrients that this plants need. And these flowers are going to be gorgeous. And look at the dew or the moisture on these leaves. You just change your perspective on those minor things. The other example I would give is during COVID, we all went through lockdown, and that was not easy. It was a shock to all of our systems to have to go through that. And yet, in the midst of that, of looking at it, kind of going, okay, what do I get to do? What can we do? And I'm just going to tell you, I wasn't out there learning a new language and making sourdough bread, but bless all of you that were, it was a time with certain people. It
Yes.
was certain ability to do other things.
Mhm.
I know that I would get up in the morning and just the time zone difference, I was able to listen to live cello
Mhm.
concerts on Facebook because that cellist was in lockdown in Paris. It was
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
Every day I so looked forward to it.
Yeah.
And so I think that there was these little pieces, but it
Mhm.
was focus, because
Yeah.
every day I could have focused on I can't leave the house, I can't leave the house, I can't leave the house and freak out. But
Mhm.
instead I chose to focus on what was going well.
Yeah. And the importance of recognizing that the reality didn't change, your perspective of it did.
That.
So you're not changing the weather and summoning the sun, although that would be fantastic. It's more, well, what is there to be grateful for? What are the things that are enjoyable, or what is the positive impact? And those aren't made up things, they are factual. Sometimes it's subjective, so that plays into it. But if there's a negative subjective side, oh, I don't like the gray, I don't like the gray. You're still going to have your personality and opinions and stuff. But if that's my only focus, I'm ruining my own day. I'm not affecting the weather. It's not doing anything to my reality except for making myself unhappy. So
Mhm.
by programming yourself to find the things to be grateful for, adjustments that could be made if it's not the great fit, or anything that's just going to feel better, our brains are programmable. So the more you do it, like you said, the more you pay attention to it, the more it grows. It becomes a pattern, and that is how you live your days. You start to sit in this space of gratitude. You recognize the beauty. You find more things that are aligned, opportunities, fun, good people, all of that. So it's not just to speak happy thoughts. It's to, again, go back into that creation stage and wake up and have these days that you enjoy. And it doesn't have to be that overly exhausting, like, what can I find that's good? You just exist in the spaces that feel better for you.
And the goal isn't to bypass anything that's going wrong or the pain of it, which that's directly toxic positivity.
Right.
It is building in habits that give you the strength and resilience you need in order to get through those painful times or those hard times, and of recognizing that you have those skill sets.
Mhm.
And it affects your literal physical body. Because in doing those things, you're not getting inflammation in your system because of this churn and the stress hormones being triggered into your body. You're sleeping better, that you have this literal physical change when you're working on these things for yourself.
And our mind and body are wildly connected. I know that's kind of newer science, but it's imperative. Your thoughts affect your body to every aspect. So going through that programming and allowance and not bypassing, you feel in control. You don't have to control the world around you. Just have to know how to understand your body and give yourself what you need. So even if things are not the greatest, it's not, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be feeling this. It's, I need something. What do
Mm-hmm.
not as scary because you're listening, and it's not as scary because you're not expecting it to not exist. It's more welcoming and being like, okay, so what do I need? Sometimes it's a nap. Sometimes it's a whole lot of nothing. And that's great. But at least we're checking in, and figuring that, and that positive psychology behind it is the space, the recognition, giving yourself what you need in those next steps.
And I think that a lot of it comes back to practice and building in certain habits, so that some of it might be the way you start your day. Some of it might be when you know that you're going to have a really hard conversation. How do you formulate those things?
Yeah.
It might be the fact that you know that things went super sideways for somebody in a certain day, but choosing what went well, what was the successes in the midst of all this. So it sets a different framework and foundation for it.
Absolutely. So for future use, how do you determine if it's positive psychology or toxic positivity? Here's how to know. Positive psychology is based on science. Toxic positivity is based on Instagram quotes. Got it? Any questions?
Thanks for joining us. See you next time, and stay wildly unbothered.